Bombshell revelation. Ramsamy drops a stunning claim. Ramsamy has just revealed Perumal's explosive claim involving Mchunu and the IGI report.
Yes.
And this could raise some serious questions. What did Perumal really say about Mchunu? And why is the IGI report suddenly at the center of attention? The revelations are piling up, the questions are growing, and this story is far from over. Don't just watch. Subscribe to Mr. T Podcast now. Stay ahead of the biggest revelations, shocking reactions, and unexpected twists as they unfold.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Just before the adjournment, we were at page 74 of file 11, which were these are your notes of a meeting held on the 1st of September 2025, and I had asked you what was the purpose for this meeting.
Advocate Johnson was unhappy with Advocate Serunye's questions and his emails and his questioning of whether these matters fell within IDAC's mandate. She was upset about the constant request for the 27 referral. So Advocate Johnson chaired the meeting while Mr. Perumal and Mr. Padiachi joined on Teams. Sorry. Advocate Johnson seemed to be upset with Advocate Hlatswayo and myself as well in indicating that we had not explained to Advocate Serunye the overarching purpose of the crime intelligence matters.
Which she said was what?
Racketeering and state capture.
And did she explain the state capture aspect?
She addressed Advocate Serunye trying to explain that the Mukwele arrest was similar to that of the Celebi judgment and that of the Zuma Sheikh judgment. There was disagreement about that because in those judgments, it was clear what the quid pro quo would be, even though there wasn't a specific agreement. And yes, the gratification or the quid pro quo would come in effect later on, but it was evident from the relationship what would be expected, versus the Mukwele matter where it's just a mere statement of in the future. In the future to do what? So that was the to and fro's that were happening. However, Advocate Johnson then got agitated and took over and wouldn't allow us to speak and laid down the law that these matters are going to proceed and that the investigating officers are going to explain to the prosecutors what the evidence is and how we should interpret it and understand it and prosecute it.
So it was, in effect, to persuade Advocate Serunye that there was a case on the Mukwele matter, or were there other matters discussed?
There were two other matters discussed. In my statement, I later deal with the Madondo Kumalo and the Masiamula Kumalo arrest, which are two separate issues. Advocate Johnson in that meeting indicated that irrespective of what Advocate Hlatswayo and I had presented to her in July already, those matters will be enrolled.
And we see there you have 3 bullet points. The second bullet point on your note says CI IDAC equals is the state capture. And then the next bullet, circumvented in an arrow in anticipation of. What was she discussing there?
Advocate Johnson was telling Advocate Serunye, Advocate Hlatswayo and myself that the crime intelligence investigation done by IDAC is actually state capture, and that's the reason IDAC was created, formed, and that these matters, these specific matters, were state capture, and she kept repeating state capture. With regards to circumvented, she's speaking about the promotions and the ads being withdrawn with regards to the Mokwele matter and then re-advertised externally. So circumvented meaning that, and it was in anticipation of, and then there was an explanation that Brigadier Mokwele's father works for the Hawks and that he was charged for trying to bribe another official.
What was said to be the relevance of her father's employment in the Hawks and being charged?
What was they were trying to explain here was that the quid pro quo would then be equated to the fact that General Khumalo was giving gratification to Brigadier Mokwele's father by appointing her.
And there's a reference to, it says, there's a docket that relates to her father, and then it says uncle and Labia. What is the reference to Labia? Is that General Labia?
Yes, there's a docket that relates to her uncle. It's supposed to be a slash or father, and the docket is with General Labia. Or they're going to obtain the docket through General Labia.
And if we then go to page 77.
Ms. Ngube, before you leave that page, the entry at page 74 still, the entry right at the top, what is that about? What does it say?
The first entry with the dot under the names, and we need to finalize the charge sheet, Khumalo matter.
And that's a different matter to the Mokwele matter?
It's the same matter. It was referred to as the Khumalo matter, or we referred to it as the Khumalo matter, being myself, Advocate Hlatswayo, and Advocate Sirunya.
And this is on the 1st of September. It's a
Correct.
meeting on so at this point, there was no finalized charge sheet yet. And yet they have been arrested. Can you just explain what happened?
After Advocate Sirunya came on board and he was listening to us and we were explaining that there's no crime of corruption, he also picked it up when he read it. And that's how the second charge sheet, it was at this point that the second charge sheet of Section 21, conspiracy, was drafted.
What Advocate Sirunya referred to as the amended charge sheet.
Correct.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, correct.
I see. Thank you.
And on page 77, there's another entry in reference to the charge sheet. So at the bottom of the page, just before the arrow that says Mokwele's docket, it says, I can't see the first word, it says just have to beef up charge sheet in equal corruption. 77.
We just have to.
Do you see it?
Yes. Beef up charge sheet, equal corruption, Mokwele's docket.
So part of the discussion here was to beef up the Mokwele charge sheet to the corruption charge in the Mokwele charge sheet.
With regards to this conversation, it was more the investigators telling the prosecutors what evidence is there to beef up the charge sheets to prove corruption.
Okay. And then if we, because we have dealt with this aspect quite extensively on these discussions, I want to go to a different aspect that was discussed at that meeting on page 80.
Yes?
Sort of towards the end of the page, there's a reference to IGI, page 45 to 75, part 2 report.
Correct.
What is that?
Commissioner Beloy asked me a question last week about IGI, whether an IGI meeting took place. So in order for us to understand this paragraph, I need to explain the first meeting and then this. So in January, Mr. Sissoko arranged for a meeting at IGI. We had a meeting with Advocate J. Govender and another member of the IGI legal team. Where they indicated, yes, they were tasked to do an investigation, but they cannot share their findings with us because of their mandate and the fact that they are regulated by a different act. And their reporting lines are very different. So, in essence, there was some words exchanged. So Advocate Govender was addressing me through the meeting. We were discussing, I asked her how many different crime intelligence matters, etc. So she did indicate that they are in the process, they are consulting with witnesses based on certain complaints. She was unable to give me any witness names. And she explained safety as well as different mandates. So Mr. Perumal got agitated to a point where Advocate Govender even said to him, your cowboy tactics is not going to work on these cases. We left that meeting. It was, I did say it was a fruitless meeting because we couldn't assist them and they couldn't assist us.
Sorry, you couldn't and they couldn't assist you. What was the purpose of the meeting when you went there?
With IGI, like with other investigations that had been completed previously during the Zondo Commission period, they are able to assist because the report has been completed. But because this was still in the process of investigations, sharing of information could not take place. So, Commissioner and Chair, we left that meeting and Mr. Perumal then wanted to arrest Advocate Govender for Section 34 for not willing to assist us. And there was this whole thing where I had to pull out the IGI Act and explain to him that they have their own. But that's just on a side note. But it was just to give you an explanation of how things were being done.
Can I just interject there? So this is the meeting that Mr. Sissoko also testified about that he attended.
Correct, in January 2025.
And did you obtain any documents at that stage?
No, nothing was shared with us.
And the discussion was about crime intelligence investigations, current investigations that the IGI was investigating?
Correct.
Okay.
Based on complaints that they had received.
Okay, so you leave that meeting and you did report back to Advocate Johnson saying that it was a fruitless meeting, and she says she's not surprised.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then we now in September.
So we in September, and Mr. Perumal is explaining various things about how Advocate Schlatzwayo, Advocate Suruni, and myself are not understanding the evidence of the Mokwele docket. He then tells us that the minister, being Minister Mchunu, arranged for someone to fly to Eastern Cape to him and provide the IGI report.
And this is the IGI report that was prepared in respect of the crime intelligence investigations undertaken by the IGI.
Correct.
Which you were told at the time in January they were still busy with investigations.
Correct. And my understanding of those reports is someone very high up has to approve that we share that information.
Okay, so what Mr. Perumal communicated in that meeting was that Minister Mchunu arranged for someone to fly that report, a hard copy of that report, to Mr. Perumal in the Eastern Cape.
Correct.
And the IGI had given that report to the minister?
Correct.
Okay. And in terms of what legislation or powers did the IGI give that report to the minister? Was there an explanation as to, was it commissioned by the minister, report commission or investigation commissioned by the minister?
It's unclear. I just know that that report was not supposed to come to us in that way.
Okay, do you know it wasn't supposed to come to IDAC via the minister?
Correct.
Okay, and why do you say that?
Because the IGI, I had read the act prior to going to have the meeting with Advocate Govender.
In January?
In January. There's certain procedures and processes that must be followed in order for that information sharing. I had also spoken to Advocate Lowe, the deputy director who's retired now. He was dealing with a matter that IGI and him, or that team, were sharing information. There were channels that had to be followed in order for that information to be shared.
And did Mr. Perumal say whether Advocate Johnson was aware that he had gotten the report from the minister?
Yes, in my notes, there's, in one of the notes, there is a note, just a note down that says Dylan must call IG. But in this meeting, Mr. Perumal indicated very clearly that the ID is aware that the minister has arranged for this report to be flown to me.
Okay, I'll ask you to find that reference during the lunch adjournment, but for now, so that is what he tells you about how he got the report.
Correct.
And does he say anything else about the report in that meeting? Because you have a reference that says page 45 to 75. I would assume that's page 45 to 75 of the report.
Correct. It's even he's even telling us which part of the report is relevant. Mr. Perumal then WhatsApps me the IGI report.
If we can go to page 600 first, and you tell us why you took a photograph of this. File 10, part 2. This is a photograph of a letter dated 2 April 2025, addressed to the minister.
Correct.
And it's on the letterhead of the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence. Before you read the letter, can you tell us why you took a photo of this letter?
I sent it to the evidence leaders to show that we are in possession of an IGI report and all the correspondence, or the correspondence that's attached to it.
Okay, can you read the letter into the record, and then I'll ask, then we can go to the WhatsApp where you received the report.
It's addressed to Minister E.S. Mchunu, MP, Honorable Minister of Police. Dear Minister Mchunu, investigations on matter of crime intelligence in terms of Section 7, subsection 7C of the Intelligence Services Oversight Act 1994, Act 40 of 1994 Oversight Act. Our correspondence dated 24 March 2024 regarding the above subject matter refers.
Just to, I think it should be 2025, yes. But it's not, you're not the author, but it makes sense that it be 2025. Continue.
In said correspondence, we appraised the minister on the progress made in respect of the investigation and the outstanding interviews with specific officials from Crime Intelligence Division of the South African Police Services, SAPS-CI. We were advised on the 27th of March 2025 from the Chief Financial Officer, CFO of SAPS-CI would not be available for an interview on the scheduled date due to prior planned leave, and would be available on the 8th of April 2025. Based on the foregoing, we are unable to meet our envisaged date of 4 April 2025 to conclude this investigation without the critical contribution of the above-mentioned official.
And who was the official, the CFO, that was being referred to?
It would be Mr. Lushaba.
Where is the rest of the letter?
I have brought the documents.
Chair, the witness brought the document this morning with the report. We still need to discuss with the NPA allowing us to use the report. It's the first time anyone has had sight of the report, and she brought hard copies. She didn't send an electronic version. She had received it via WhatsApp as well. This was just the photograph that she had taken initially to show us that she does have it. But she's brought it this morning with her. We will then deal with the I think there's a page 2 which has the signature and
Yes,
a short
correct.
notice.